Gentlemen and lady, let's start with one of the top stories that played out in the course of the week, all to do with Robert Monda, who was this week impeached by the Senate after senators voted to uphold all 4 charges that were brought against him by the County Assembly of Kisii. Now, the former Nyaribari Chache Member of Parliament is the first deputy governor to be removed from office through impeachment since the counties were actually established in 2013. And we saw 2 days of cross-examination at the floor of the House, where the MCAs had their day to argue out their case, and the deputy governor, who has been impeached, Robert Monda, through his legal counsel, equally argued out their case. Let's just listen in to one of the submissions that was handed over by Robert Monda, briefly, in terms of the accusations that were raised against him and his defense. Or rather, let's buy time as we wait for that. But it's proper to note, at the heart of the allegations was an 800,000 shilling bribe from one Dennis Mokaya, with the promise of securing him a commercial manager position at the Kisii Water and Sanitation Company, as well as the arrest of the brother of the DG, that's Ruben Monda, for allegedly cutting down some trees on their family land. So according to the senators, those 4 counts definitely stood the test of time, and according to Chapter 6, he did not carry his position in the manner in which is conferred upon the Constitution. So let's start with you, for obvious reasons. You come from that county.
I hope. I thought somebody else would start.
No, because he's the first deputy governor to be impeached. Yeah. Where does this leave Kisii County? Bearing in mind, we've seen the altercations between the governor and the deputy and some high-level members of parliament from the region. Yes. Does this calm down the waters in the county? And did Senate do their job?
First and foremost, I come from Nyamira County, but I do also have interest or investment in Kisii County, and it's my county too. It's very difficult to begin, because when you say that one of the reasons why the deputy governor was impeached was because his brother brought out evidence that they had cut family trees, and this was a consideration by the Senate, honestly. The less I say of that, the better, because that's a huge embarrassment for first the mother of the 2 brothers to come out here in the Senate and in the public and say, you know, he cut down the tree, so he's not a right man. But besides that, Jesse, going deeper into the seriousness about this impeachment, this demonstrates that devolution has not properly been understood by the residents of various counties. In terms of, we are talking about a budget of about 10 million coming from the national government, plus other donations and loans that come into the county, which the executive is supposed to manage properly for the people of Kisii County. And yet, for about 2 years, groups emerge simply to try to stage a claim over how county should be governed, away from the promises the winner governor has given. And then people come up and say, no, we think he's not right. And another group comes up and says, no, he is right. And for 2 years, they are going to haggle about that until they actually bring the deputy governor for impeachment. So for me, the fact that the Kisii, the Kisii County people, the residents, have not appreciated that we are fiddling and playing with a huge budget from the national government just because of selfish ends and trying to, point fingers to one and another in terms of selfish and personal interests. But in terms of, are they utilizing this? Then you go deeper to see what is the governor spending on development and what is the governor spending on emoluments and salary and water and tea. That is where the major problem is. And you cannot resolve that by putting forward the selfish interests of trying to, specifically argue about what you want as a family or what you want as an individual. You should look at the bigger picture of the Kisii community and the Kisii as a county. How can we tap into the national cake where about 10 billion is going to the county per every financial year? And we were surprised that a lot of that money will go back to the exchequer because it has not been properly utilized. So devolution, in my honest view, then has not served the people of Kisii County, and they have not quite understood and appreciated how they can benefit from that advance from the national government. Before I sign off, I want to say one thing. The biggest problem, not only in Kisii County, but in devolution generally, is people who completely have no clue about governance and leadership are actually the people in the center. They are at the center of governing our counties. People have no clue. I mean, Simba Arati won elections, hands down, beat his opponents. There's no doubt about that. Instead of people knowing now we need unity, come together, support him to fulfill his mandate, even if it is Azimio mandate, utilize the 10 billion or so that he can serve the people of Kisii County. Instead of doing that, people are being used by outside forces and try to camouflage through, oh, you are not leading correctly, you are not doing it. Of course, the governor may not do everything correctly. But what are you going to do with this fat baby, this national cake? Nobody's addressing that. So it was, for me, a huge embarrassment for the family to go to the Senate and clearly show that they were, they had something sinister. And that is why the impeachment came. If you talk about bribery, definitely you must be removed from office if you have accepted a bribe. There is no doubt about that. If you have abused your office, whether you abused your office through your brother or mother, definitely you must be removed from office. Okay. But my point here, Jesse, is the Kisii County, the Kisumu County, Mombasa County, people should be focused more on how can we tap into the national cake, the billions we get every financial year, how can you utilize and use them towards helping the people rather than how can it come to me, rather than forming those cartels and then ensuring that we get the tender. If we don't get the tender, we sabotage everything. That's the problem which I think was actually facing the Kisii County.
Okay, you've definitely looked at the bigger picture. It's proper to note that Kisii Governor Simba Arati